it's Molly from the Sassy Apple, and today is part 3 of my back to school video series all about planning the most amazing first week ever. Today we're going to be diving into all things math and planning out your first 3 math lessons. So let's get started. Just as a reminder, if you haven't already, download your free copy of the first week of school planning guide. It has pages that go with each video that will really help you with creating your lesson plans at the end. It also has all of the resources and freebies that I talk about throughout the videos all in one spot. So don't miss that. So if you watched my first 3 reading lessons video, you might remember that I said at the beginning, when I'm thinking about what I want that first week of that content area to be like, I want to ask, what do I want to communicate? What am I trying to get across to my students about that subject area and how we will value it in our classroom? So once you have your message, that's when you can start building your lessons around it. So for math, we're going to have a lot of discussion. There's going to be a lot of collaboration and communication regarding math. So we have to model, we have to plan activities that allow and lend themselves to those 3 things. So we're going to be talking a lot about math. We start day 1 with lots of discussion. We're going to collaborate, play lots of games, do a lot of partner and group activities, and we're going to communicate using math vocabulary. We're going to talk about the access that my students will have to math tools, and we're going to emphasize that mastering basic math, especially math facts, is going to be our pathway to success. Finally, math is fun. You will have students who love math, and you'll have students that shy away from math. Numbers aren't their thing, but we can all have fun when we're learning math. And a lot of that is through our hands-on materials and through playing games. So my first math lesson is all about making math connections. We're going to talk about what they learned in the previous year. So I was a 2nd grade teacher. We talked about what did you learn in math in 1st grade. This helps and make it a little less intimidating for students that are not super confident in math. They'll think, oh my gosh, 2nd grade math, what are we going to learn? But when you start talking about all the things they learned in 1st grade and then connect that to what they're going to learn in 2nd grade, it makes it a little less scary. We also talk about all the ways math is used in our real life. So I love this chart by School in the City. She made this years ago with her students about all the places you can find math in the real world. So you could have materials like this available that students could look through to kind of, help them with brainstorming where they see math, because they might not even realize it, that when they go to the grocery store with their parents, math is there in the price tags and in the money and all those things. So we get those conversations started about our day from the moment we wake up to go to bed, where we find math. And we draw a picture. I have them just brainstorm and draw something on their own first, and then we continue to add to it as we have our conversations. I do have them, since we do use a math series, I take the books and they just look through them, and I hear a lot of, oh, we learned this in 1st grade. Oh, and there's shapes. Oh, there's time, like things that they are familiar with. So another way to kind of get the brainstorming flowing, taking a look at those materials if you have them. And then finally, we take a look at our math on our name tags. I use double-sided name tags. So this is a picture of the back of them. And I have lots of different choices available. Here I've got a hundreds chart and a number line, and I think, yep, there's shapes on there. So we take a look at our name tag because I like to emphasize how this can be a tool for them. So I encourage them to flip their name tag over, take a look at it, use that number line, use that hundreds chart. We briefly talk about those two tools. And what's great about these is I stick a little Velcro sticky in the middle of them so they can pull them off and then reattach them. And then they can actually take them around the room with them too. So when we're doing independent math practice, I love nothing more than when one of my students rips their name tag off to take it with them to go solve some math problems. So after day one, where we're making those connections to our previous year of math and the real world, next we're going to dive deeper into our math tools that we will have available to us. So every kid wants to play with the manipulatives. Let's just be honest. They're 6, 7, 8 years old. So that's what we do. I give them free time to just do what they want. They want to build. They want to make shapes on a geoboard, a house, and all sorts of things. So I let them get it out of their system, and we just play around with them. Free exploration. So if I have 5 table groups, I will have 5 bins of math tools, and I'll put 1 bin at each table, and we'll just rotate through. I'll give them like 5 to 7 minutes to play around with them. So this is a great time to review the procedures and expectations. So for my classroom, whoever's table or whoever's desk I put the bin on, that is the person who takes the math tools out first. So they take what they need and then they pass it along so that you don't have everyone with their hands in the bin at the same time. So we talk about passing it around. We talk about how when the timer goes off and it's time to clean up, everyone gets down on the floor, or at least looks on the floor, and grabs anything they see. So it's a group effort. It doesn't matter if you were using it or not. That is one of my pet peeves when kids say, well, that's not mine. Well, you know how many things I pick up a day that aren't mine too. So that is one thing that we just get out of the way first thing. It does not matter if you were using it. We all work together to help keep this classroom clean. And then, of course, I have to share with them my penny story. So years and years ago, in a far-off land, when I was substitute teaching, we were using the plastic coins for a math lesson. And one of my students put one of the coins in her mouth. So I make a big dramatic, storytelling about this. And I can't believe she would put it in her mouth. She is 7 years old. Doesn't she know better? Babies put stuff in their mouth. So I try to be over the top when I'm telling this story, and then we talk about why you shouldn't put the math manipulatives in your mouth. I never thought I would have to tell second graders not to. Maybe kindergarten, but never thought second. But it's always a great reminder. They're all like super grossed out, and we can talk about all the things we do with the math tools and all the things we don't do with the math tools. So I do have a resource that has all the things that you might need to discuss the math tools and rules and things like that I'll link below. But that is day 2, and it's one of our favorite days. This brings us to day 3. Now, I mentioned that mastering math facts is at the foundation for success in math. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Your students need to know their math facts. So my advice for you is have the system you want to use for practicing math facts every single day. Have that in place, ready to go, and to start on week 1. You do not want to waste time trying to think, how are we going to do it? And then not start until October. You want to start as soon as possible. I utilize a program that I created called Fast Fact Folders. I have those ready to go even before the first day of school starts. And we take the placement test earlier in the week so that by the end of the week, I have the folders set up and we get started. So that is a daily practice that's just 1 minute each day. I would suggest whatever program you end up using, whether it's something that your school has provided for you or you come up with your own thing or purchase off a TPT, do it in school. These folders are great. They can be used for homework too, but do not rely math fact practice to happen for homework because that's really going to create a gap between your students who have the ability to practice at home and who do not. So make sure you incorporate some kind of practice each day for everyone. So then after we go over our fast fact folder routine, which is just timing themselves for 1 minute and then trying to beat their own score each day. So it only takes, once it's ready and going, it's less than 5 minutes a day. So once we've done that, it's time to play a game. And we play one of my favorite games called Trash Can Math, which I'm not going to get into the details or this video is going to be a half an hour long. But I have a blog post all about it and I have some Instagram videos about it. So if you're interested in how to play that, go check those out. I'll link them below. So we get started playing math games right away because math is fun. And I love math games. I put together this first 9 weeks of second grade pacing guide that has links to all sorts of math games for every skill. So that is also included below if you want to check that out. Even though it's second grade, some of the games could certainly work for first or third as well. And my last suggestion to you when you're doing math games is always do it whole group first. So I always play either the students against me or we're just playing together to win. So it kind of cuts down on that competition because some kids get a little too intense with competition sometimes. But if we do compete, it's usually me versus them at first until we kind of warm up to some friendly competition. So we always practice a whole group, and then once I feel comfortable that they understand the game and they're doing it well, then they practice in partners or in groups. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about the first 3 math lessons. If you missed any of my previous videos, I have them linked below. And the next video is going to be about your first 3 writing lessons. Thank you again for joining me to plan your most amazing first week ever.